Hi, travelers. Today we're here with a friend of mine, Lauren, to do another Ask the Expert. So today I thought I would try asking a flight attendant for advice on traveling with kids, since she has been on countless flights. She's probably seen some things that even those of us who feel like we're kind of expert travelers may not know. So welcome to Vlogmas and Ask the Expert. If you don't know, Ask the Expert is my podcast series. So you can also catch these on podcasting platforms, but we have it here on the video on YouTube. And my last expert was Courtney, my friend who has celiac disease, talking about how to get started once you get diagnosed with celiac and have to go gluten-free. She was excellent. So if you want to go back and watch that, go check out Courtney. But today we're here with Lauren. Lauren, you want to tell me a little bit about what you do?
So I've been a flight attendant for about 8 years in the New York area, and I was a teacher previously. So I really like the change of, getting to travel and just go all over the place all the time. And yeah, so what I do on the plane is make sure everyone stays taken care of and safe, and make sure everyone knows, the emergency procedures, and just that everyone gets to where they need to go comfortably.
Yeah. And I bet there's a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that we don't even realize that you're doing.
Yes.
So thank you for keeping everybody safe. So I think we probably imagine flight attendants to have really glamorous jobs. Do you feel like you get to see a lot of places, or is there a lot of routine in what you do?
So it's very much both. So we do work under kind of this routine, wild system, and then our destinations kind of depend on our seniority. So in the New York area, this is kind of a great area to be based in because at least for my airline, seniority is pretty low here. So those of us who haven't been around since 1980, we still get to choose a lot of our trips. And I really like that we can go international. A lot of people like to stay domestic for a lot of different reasons. I'd say as long as you get some decent rest, it can be glamorous if you make it. It is what you make it.
That's awesome. In addition to being a flight attendant, you're also a mom now, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
you weren't a mom when you first became a flight attendant.
No. And I didn't know how I would do that. So now you can be a mom and a flight attendant. It wasn't that way years ago. Once you got married, you had to leave. That was how it was during those Pan Am days. Now it's a lot different.
So
Thank
funny.
God.
I don't know if you can see it, but I bought Nick the Pan Am board game, and it's kind of peeking out right there. You can see the Pan Am logo.
Oh, nice.
So he thinks of that as glamorous, but I'm grateful for the more progressive way that now flight attendants get to have a family too.
Yeah, so are we. And it's not easy at all. I can't believe there's so many mom flight attendants. It can be very hard. And a lot of people do walk away. Some not forever, just for a length of time. But our job is kind of cool that you can do that in the first place. So being a mom with 2 under 2 and being a flight attendant has definitely had some crazy challenges. Yeah.
So as 2 under 2, you're on maternity leave right now.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, my youngest is 8 months old.
Do you have any memorable stories or crazy times, specifically regarding like families and people needing help with their kids?
So people always need help with their kids. So if you're traveling with a kid, if it's a teenager, anything, never be afraid to engage with your flight attendants, and just, even if it's just a comment on, oh, it's always exhausting traveling with them, or whatever it is, because that kind of will set off our little alarm, like, okay, maybe walk past them a couple extra times and just make sure they're okay. And so a lot of airlines in the US anyway, I don't know about internationally, but they do the unaccompanied minors program, which is a very important program to every flight attendant because you are the responsible party of that minor. And I was just remembering we had 5 years old is the youngest that you can be to fly alone. So you get passed off from your parent at the gate to a flight attendant. And I was one of the flight attendants on this flight, and the model of aircraft that we were in that day had the middle of the airplane has its own exit door.
Mm-hmm.
And across from it, because I can't sit near an exit, right? So across from it, across from where I'm also sitting, is our cute little 5-year-old. And he is so chatty and adorable. And it's a long flight. So we're keeping an eye on him, making sure he has everything he needs. But he's sitting next to this very corporate looking older man dressed like in full work attire. And he's very quiet and serious. And this little boy was so hilarious. He was going on and on and on and on. And the man next to him is trying to be such a good sport. And I'm like, oh boy, he's going to snap like any minute now. And so we're trying to intercept as much as we can. And, but we're busy. So, every time we come back to check on him, the guy is, he's humoring the little boy and listening to his story. On landing, we're listening to what he's actually talking to him about. And this little 5-year-old is giving the older gentleman a whole rundown of his life and his new step parents and his parents' dating life and all the things they say. It was so funny. It's like, oh my gosh, we need to land.
Kids will air your dirty laundry real fast.
He was, oh my goodness, it was so funny. And the man is just like trying not to crack up laughing, looking at us like, oh really? Oh, tell me more. It was so funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, a couple times recently when we flew, we tried to do the trick where you keep one of the middle seats free and hope that no one books it.
Yes.
And it didn't work for us. And both times we were like, I hope they're nice enough to let us switch, because otherwise they're going to be by themselves with my child. And because it was 4 across in the middle. So I had one child on this side, one child on this side, but we made a little extra room. And so they did every time willingly switch. And every time that happens, I'm so just appreciative of how gracious some travelers are with kids. I've seen certain parents say, like, when you travel with a baby, bring goodies for your seatmates, bring goodies for your flight attendants. Do you ever get any goodies?
Yes. Usually it's not parents, I have to say, because they have enough to carry.
Their hands are full.
Yeah, we have gotten things from them too, but yeah, you see that a lot. It kind of, I think that also puts them on the flight attendant's radar.
Yeah.
So yeah, gifts are nice, but definitely not,
not expected.
Yes, not anticipated by any means. So
what kind of thing is nice as a flight attendant for a gift? Like something that's actually helpful or useful. A couple times I've been getting myself coffee right before boarding, and I think, would my flight attendants like coffee? I don't know what kind they want. And so then I talk myself out of it.
So we get a lot of gift cards to Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks.
Perfect.
Which is like everyone's happy day.
Yeah.
Because we fly crazy hours and need the espresso. So
yeah.
We get a lot of candy, and those uniforms are not forgiving usually. So if you're gonna bring something to your flight attendants, there's things like tea, hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, I packed little, we didn't fly that much during the pandemic, and I was furloughed. So when we did fly for a family vacation in the middle of it, I packed little goodie bags of things you would need when you're sick, like herbal tea and cough drops and hand sanitizer and tissues and little like sicky goodie bags.
Yeah.
And the flight attendants were so happy. So I was really glad I did that.
Awesome. That's a perfect idea. Do you feel like there's things about your responsibilities that maybe parents don't understand?
It's good to, take note, of course, of all the safety things, like the seatbelt sign being on. It might be on for a bigger reason than you know. So I've had flight attendants sometimes, like they have to change a diaper.
Yeah.
Or they really need to go for a walk with their kids or something. And the seatbelt sign just looks like it's been left on by accident. And they'll ring their call bell, which is a great thing to do. And if we don't get to you right away, that's kind of a good indicator that it's on for a good reason. But if, we'll get to you and then let you know if now's a good time to get up and,
That's a good tip because I'm always afraid to ring my call bell.
no, yeah, bring it because it's better than, us looking back like, why are they up? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, we want to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. One of the things that I've learned to do with kids is that if I see my child's about to fall asleep, and they're acting like they want to get snuggly, sometimes I'll give them a blanket or a jacket or something, but I make sure that their seatbelt is buckled around the blanket or the jacket so that if they're still asleep when we land, I don't have to like throw their blanket
Move
at
on.
them and wake them up so that the flight attendant can see that they're buckled. I'm like, no, see, it's buckled. It's just buckled on top. And so,
Mhm.
are there any rules about flying that parents, maybe who haven't flown a lot with kids yet, maybe they flew a lot before they had kids, but now they're starting to try traveling now that they've got little ones, rules around car seats? And I mean, I prefer to gate check my stroller just because I suspect it might be beat up a little bit less if I gate check it as opposed to checking it at the desk.
The oxygen mask situation. So if you are in a row with more than one lap child, there is not going to be enough oxygen masks for your party in your seat group. So if you and dad are traveling and you both have a child in your lap, one of you is going to have to move.
Right.
And so for this reason, and also for the exit row, children can't sit in the exit row.
Right.
Sometimes when you book your flight, your ticket doesn't take into consideration who is flying or whoever's booking, you know. It's a good idea to look at where you're sitting and look at how you're sitting, not just when you're booking your flight and when you're choosing your seat, because sometimes your seat gets moved without you knowing. But once you get your boarding passes printed, go to the front and make sure that, everything is okay with your seat group. Um, Parents lots of times have had to move out of the exit row with their children, like before, during boarding or before boarding, or sometimes, you don't have to walk onto the plane and figure it out then. That's
Yeah,
actually what we want to avoid.
the worst time to do it. Yeah, everybody's in the right spot. Yeah, I got bumped
Yeah.
more than once because I needed an extra oxygen mask for my lap child.
Yeah.
And the first couple times it happened, I was really frustrated. I was like, come on, I'm a mom. Why are you bumping me out of my seat? Bump somebody else. And then I realized, no, this is this is a safety thing specifically for my baby. So it's
Yeah.
okay. And I'm grateful for it, and it's okay. Is there anything that flight attendants can offer to families that we may not know is a resource to them when flying?
Um, so the app, it's good to make sure that you don't forget your headphones when you're traveling with your kids. I know everyone wants to hear Coco Melon on the airplane, but it's okay to be stingy with this one and just keep it for yourself. And there's almost always extra snacks for kids. And there's also little cute kid coloring book sets and cute little pilot activities that they can do if you ask your flight attendant when you board or as you're sitting there when there's a lull in the flight. There's usually kid sets and or kid kits or whatever they're called. And if the pilots don't have them up in the front for them, then the flight attendants usually have them somewhere on the plane.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
really fun. Especially if it's one of your kids like first flights or earlier flights and they're eager. But Axon, my 3-year-old, is just obsessed with planes. He loves them. So he would love to color anything with a plane on
Mhm.
it. He always is like, can we go to the airport? Where's that plane going? Let's go to that, wherever that plane's going. I'm like, yeah, bud, let's go.
Yeah. Agreed. Let's go.
I know. I have asked if it was okay to pour water or apple juice directly into a sippy cup because I was that mom that was like holding it in the aisle, trying not to spill it, like as I transferred it from their little plastic cup into the sippy cup. And I was like, it might be better if I just let the professionals handle pouring the drinks. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course. And some people, I think things have changed a little bit since COVID
Yeah.
has joined the party, but I think usually they'll still do that for you.
Oh, but
There's,
you've been to a lot of airports, and I'm finding more and more airports have family friendly like play areas and stuff. Do you have a
yeah.
favorite one or
Um,
the
I
new?
know, I know San Francisco is one that I'm in a lot, and they have little play areas here and there. But you know what's my favorite thing in airports now that I've noticed is the
Yeah.
Mamava breastfeeding
Yeah.
pods.
They're like
Those
very,
are great.
yeah.
You can usually find like a nook of the airport where you can nurse and just change a diaper or whatever it is. And I think you're actually not supposed to change diapers in the Mamava, but um,
But you can
those
pump in
are
there because
amazing.
I think they have electrical outlets. So you can nurse
Yes,
or pump. Either one is,
it's
I,
really nice in there, actually.
yeah, it's a really nice resource. Every time I see one, I want to take pictures and like share it
Yeah,
with the world because I think that's really important. I think by my third kid, I got to the point where I was like, oh, I'll nurse wherever. It's fine.
yeah,
People
yeah.
can handle it. But definitely with my oldest, when I was first getting used to breastfeeding, I was not comfortable doing it in public, and that would have been incredible. I think I didn't see them when he was because that would have been 9 years ago. But shortly thereafter, I started seeing them, and I was like, "Where were
Yeah.
these?"
That's my favorite thing. So most major airports I've noticed do have them, and even some smaller airports. And if you download the Mamava app, it'll tell you right away if your airport has them. So I don't know. They're usually very well kept. They're clean and they're big inside, and they're just nice.
I'm gonna try to find a picture of one of them and insert
Hmm.
it here so people can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's a great resource, especially for new moms that don't know what it is. I find that whether it's like a family restroom or the Mamava pods, or some airports might have like sensory rooms or lounges for families. I'm always like, am I supposed to come in? Like, is it okay for me to do this? I don't know why I'm not more bold about getting what I need.
I feel like that's every mom, like, because there's only one in
Right.
your
Yeah.
little area, in your concourse. But there are multiple throughout the airport,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
just do it.
it's
And if
okay.
another mom is knocking, then you'll know. But,
Yeah. I love that our instinct as moms is to take care of other moms, but also
yeah,
take care of yourself and your kid.
absolutely.
Yeah. Have you gone on any flights with your oldest?
Yes. Actually, we've only gone on flights with our oldest so far, and we're planning a trip soon. Our most memorable trip was to San Francisco from New
Long flight with
Jersey.
a baby.
Oh my goodness. And it was quite the flight. And I was expecting all this like immediate support and like, oh, because they know when other flight attendants are flying, they know. Um, but it did not go that way. We'd had like back to back to back blowouts, which if you are traveling with children, a good hack is um, one that my coworkers gave me a long time ago. Make sure that you have individual outfits ready to just pull out of the diaper bag, not just for your kids, but for you. My husband was wearing our baby. He was 6 months or 7 months at the time, and he just got covered in poop. Like, oh, he was like right at the gate. So funny. And we didn't even get on that flight. After that, we are like, let's go home. We're done. We're all done. He like another thing I carry is garbage bags, like right in the front pocket. So many garbage bags. And just like take this, put every single thing in the garbage bag, tie it up. Like
Yeah.
we're going. So,
I don't know if you experienced this, but my kids at high elevation seem to have more blowout diapers. I
yeah.
don't know if there's something like if the elevation throws off their tummy or something, but it's like clockwork when I have someone that's not on solids yet. So like up until they're 6 or 7 months, every time we fly, there will be a blowout diaper. It's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense, right? Because so when you're in the air, you get very bloated because of
Yeah.
the altitude. So yeah, I guess for a baby that makes sense.
That's what
That's
they would
why.
do.
But we were on the ground, so
That's true.
why?
No excuses.
So we were traveling with my oldest, and so we expected to be taken care of right away by my fellow, coworkers, which we don't all know each other by a long shot because there's so many of us.
Yeah.
And another standby person had switched with us. He took our seats, and so we didn't make a big fuss of it. We just sat down, um, and so they kept taking care of him because they thought he was a flight attendant. And I was there losing my mind, like on the plane for the first time with my own baby, and he was not sleeping by any stretch. And I was just like, is anybody going to help me? Like, because it was all guys, and they do try. At the end of the flight, he was very compassionate, but it was a very long flight, and it was just men working it, and I was like, I wish there was a mom out here right now.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get the perfect cross section of mom and flight attendant, you'll be taken
Yeah.
care of.
Oh, you know what's the sweetest thing? I was pregnant with my second 7 months, and the flight attendants in the back came up to the front where I was working to come get me. It was like the middle of the night, and they're like, "We need a mom's help right now." I was like, "Okay." So I felt all important and giant, right? And I went to go see what they needed, and this mom sitting right in the middle of the plane, at the bulkhead where first class and economy meet. She was traveling with her mother, and she had a newborn baby. So she was so frustrated because the baby fell asleep and she really had to pump. Um, but those outlets on the plane cannot be relied on. So don't count on that for pumping. Like
Okay.
there's so many breastfeeding travel things. But that's one of them. Don't count on those outlets to work for your breast pump. So I was like, you don't have a manual pump? She's like, no. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna have to go in the bathroom, or you do it here, and manually
And
take
express.
care of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
hand express. And it's like, always just throw it in the bag. Take the manual pump always,
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
But I had to like set up a little nook for her and like walk her through it. Um,
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
Moms helping moms when they travel is just an extra layer of thank goodness for you.
And so I do know quite a bit about hand expression as an option, but I love a hand pump, man. I don't know why, but those things, I think a lot of new moms write them off because they want like whatever is the like fanciest, basically like hot rod car of fancy pumps. And a $20 hand pump from Target, I can take on a plane and no one can even hear it.
Hmm.
And it's so easy to use and it always got more milk for me than any of the electric pumps. And so I love those for travel. They're great.
Yeah.
Have you missed the job since you've been on maternity leave? I mean, I want moms to embrace their maternity leave and spend their time bonding with their babies and not be thinking about the office, whatever that office may look like, whether it's on the ground or in the sky.
Basically, some jobs just can't give American mothers what is required now, through the federal law for postpartum and while you're pregnant. Can't give you the certain breaks and pumping requirements, and there's
Yeah,
just all these legalities that we are blessed now, thank God, to have as moms in the U.S. We have this much, guys,
we got it.
and
That much.
we got it. We got something. But some jobs, it's just like, sorry, that's just not compatible with what you're doing. Which flight attendant, anyone in transportation, usually fall into that category. So because of that, we get a very, very long maternity leave if we want it. And some paid flight attendants will go out either at the start of their third trimester, or your airline will cut you off at some point. You can't go around flying at 38 weeks. So you just can't.
Not great.
Yeah, just for anybody. And then so because of that, have like 3 months. And then after the baby is born, we have a year because the airline can't provide us with anywhere to pump or to breastfeed on a regular basis. So because of that, we get this extra time, and it's awesome. 15 months of maternity leave for 2 kids. I've been gone for quite a while, and I came back in the middle for just a little bit. Now I'm back out again, so I feel like I miss moving. So
Yeah. I think there's fun to some jobs, and that seems like one that would have some fun.
it's definitely fun. It can be a lot half the time, but I love it. And I can't imagine being in another country away from my baby right now, just killing me. But also, 202 as a stay-at-home mom is also more work than any job anybody will have. So I'm ready to go back to my easy working 18 hours a day sometimes, walk in the park. That is being a flight attendant. Yeah.
Yeah. Cheers to the moms. One thing that I really appreciate, well, once you start getting your kiddos own seat, once you have that requirement and it's in the budget, because golly, tickets are expensive to pay for a 3-year-old. But I'm always grateful to have the extra baggage space. And so then it's like, oh, I don't love having my bag at my feet. That's kind of annoying, but I need my stuff for my kids. Oh, I can put it under his feet because his legs aren't so long.
Little feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that a lot. Like giant carry-on bags that almost are not carry-ons. And it's for like a little baby because they got a car seat, right?
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
like, that's her bag. Okay. Okay.
Do you have
That's
a lot of folks who bring car seats on the flight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone asked me about it recently, and it's not something that I ever did. I think I did it once, between 3 kids.
Car seats are great if you're going to be on a long flight for sure. And they are already used to their car seat, and it's FAA regulated. So you're allowed to have it on the plane. And when you get to where you're going, you're going to be in a car at some point.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit of lugging that thing all over the place. But you don't have to. You could rent it with a rental car, and your baby is gonna be on you at some point, regardless. There's only one harness that US carriers allow, and that's the CARES
Uh-huh.
baby harness for their seatbelt.
Mhm.
And it works with the seatbelt.
Okay.
So I was taking a clip because we have to learn like about it when we're getting hired. But so it's like $90, first of all. Second of all, you have to kind of interfere and hope the person behind you is nice, because you're wrapping it around where their tray table goes.
Right.
So don't wrap their tray table, but
Right.
where their tray table goes. And
Open it up,
nowadays,
talk a little bit, and then close it again.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know, like, because it can't be taunt, right? Because the tray table goes into something sometime.
Right.
I'm just like, this looks like it's more of an issue than actually is being helpful.
Yeah.
And then in an emergency to get it out pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
I was watching the video of how to do it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't seem like that's going to work very quickly. Like,
My kids have managed to stay pretty securely in their seats. I think I only whenever I had like crawlers and just not quite like toddlers yet, sometimes they would want to get down um and be independent. And I wouldn't let them on in the aisle, but I would sit in the aisle seat so that they could like have a little space in front of their seat in the window seat. And I would bring usually one of the little lightweight muslin blankets and lay it on the floor so that if they ended up sitting, they weren't sitting right on the floor.
yeah, I see a lot of parents letting their kids like crawl and lick all over the airport and the planes. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So many, yeah, no, every flight attendant will have the same face on if they see that. It's like,
I mean,
oh.
it sometimes feels like overkill whenever you see the mom with the sanitizing wipes, but you realize like she's probably not wrong.
These are not normal germs. These are not daycare germs. These are old everywhere germs.
That's a
So
good point.
especially since the pandemic,
Yeah.
airlines have been all taking better precautions at sanitizing. But depending on where you're going, because
Yeah.
if it's a like a smaller airport you're traveling to, or usually if it's just domestic, that plane probably didn't get cleaned as well as you're hoping it did. So you don't want to do that.
Yeah. I remember flying when Asher was 3, and he was just trying to be silly and entertain us at the airport. And it wasn't on the plane, but it was waiting to board our plane. He starts licking the handrests of the chairs. And I was like, boy, you are going to get sick. And that night he got his first stomach bug. And I was
Oh
like,
my
told
goodness.
you, don't lick the chairs.
Those changing tables in the seat in front of you,
Mhm.
those are not changing tables. So
Your tray table.
those
Oh,
tray tables, if you're guilty of this, Laura,
no, I've not changed a baby on a tray table. Ah,
I've seen people do it on their laps, on the chair next to them. Those are all more acceptable options when you can't move the tray
still,
table.
there should be a
Like,
changing table in the bathroom So you don't have to
Yes.
do that.
So there's now on like most, at least for my airline, there's
Yeah.
always a changing table somewhere on the airplane, at least one. Usually there's more than one if it's a bigger plane.
And sometimes I have to ask because I'm not sure which lavatory is going to have it. But
Mhm.
I thought no way it would be big enough to hold my chubby kids. I have chunkers. But they're sturdy little tables and they have more space than you realize. So yeah, make use of those. Don't subject
Yeah.
all your seatmates around you to a diaper chain.
What's happening?
Do it.
Yeah, like a million times I've propped the door open, even at the top, so that I don't have to be in the bath. Like those bathrooms are ridiculously small. And to be in there with two people and one of them is horizontal, is just asking a lot. So I sometimes like prop it open with my foot, or you can prop it open at the top. Just remember to undo it if you can when you're done. But that way I'm not like, I don't have to stand inside the bathroom. Like the
Right.
changing table's out, I'm here, you're there,
And that's acceptable and a million times
Yes.
better than changing the baby on your tray table.
Yeah, because you don't.
Thank you for taking care of your passengers so well. And thank you for sharing some of these fun stories and awesome tips with us today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for talking with me. And I'll send you some of my other notes in case you want to look at them.
Yeah, you know what? I will maybe even type up a blog post based on your notes, and I will put it in the link in the description of this video so that if anyone wants to link to my blog, they can see Lauren's top 10, top 20. You said it was a long list. What to do when you fly from
Yeah.
Real Pro. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.